Hi, I'm Andy. Welcome to Narcolepsy Pumpkin. If you haven't done already, click on subscribe and click on the bell. That way you'll get notifications of new videos when they come out. Over the last few episodes, we've looked at single responsibility principle, own close principle. We've had a little ramble into Liskov substitution principle, and in the last episode we've looked at dependency inversion principle. This time we're going to look at interface segregation and how that can apply to your coding standards, you, and possibly beyond. Episode 5, Interface Segregation Principle. Interface segregation principle. The ethos of that is making sure that you're not forcing things that code doesn't depend on to carry along for the ride. Where you've got large data objects or large classes, those can probably be split down into multiple interfaces. You may still keep the implementation exactly the same, but you're inheriting from multiple interfaces. But it does allow the things downstream to only depend on the parts of that they actually need. If you've got a large interface, you're basically just going to split that into sections, and those sections should be roughly following the single responsibility principle. So you try and group things that are similar or are likely to change or have some sort of interdependency. This can also have an effect in that the surface area that actually has to change when you change one of the smaller interfaces is a lot less. So how does this apply to you? You should provide a depth of knowledge in a single field to your team. Don't try and know everything about everything. Be a generalist by all means, but don't try and gain a depth of knowledge about multiple subjects. That will eventually burn you out. The cost of maintaining that knowledge will be huge. Having one focused area that you are a specialist of means that you can provide that knowledge, that specialist knowledge, to your team. And that's going to give the most value to other people from yourself. Obviously, as I've said before, everybody in your team should have enough generalist knowledge to cover for anybody else in it. That's just a matter of making sure that most of the knowledge that's in your head is in everybody else's too. That's just a professional way of working to make sure that when you're out with the team, when you're ill, when you're on holiday, other people can cover for you, other people can do your job. They don't need to do it to necessarily the same depth of specialism as you would do, but they should be able to keep the lights on while you're not there. As far as your team goes, your team should provide a facade of the skills. So each member of that team has a specialist area where they've got depth of knowledge, and when you put that team together, that provides a depth of knowledge across a very wide scheme of things. In this quite short and sweet episode, we have covered a very brief explanation of what the interface segregation principle is, a little bit about how your depth of knowledge and your team's breadth of knowledge as a whole fall into that segregation of interfaces, so that you yourself are only looking at a specialist amount of knowledge, but your team as a whole have a broad range of specialist skills. That's not the end to this series. I'm going to do another few episodes, the content of which is still yet to be decided, but watch this space. I will continue the solid journey, and that might be wandering into some of the other principles